Yo, what's going on YouTube? Elo here, coming in with the deck profile. Live Twin Spright. I know it's been a minute since I've last uploaded, but I was just waiting really for AGOV to come out on the new format. These past two tournaments, I went to the 25th anniversary tournament for the release of that, and as well as a 25th anniversary case tournament. These are the first real bigger tournaments that I've played since I've been back. But I decided to stick on Live Twin Spright. I'm missing a couple cards for Infernoble because I do want to play that new list. Yeah, that's all I really could say. Let's go ahead and get right into a profile. And this is going to be a pretty in-depth profile, so go ahead and be patient with me. I'm going to explain all my reasoning behind essentially every card I play in here and why I play it in here. Starting off, I like maxing out on the summons, so we're playing 3 normal summons, and this is a new addition. I'm playing the 1 extender. It's like I said, just my whole reasoning is I'd rather play and be able to extend than not play, so I'm maxing out on the summons. It worked out really well. I can't complain about it, I'm not gonna lie, just because if you're never able to see twins, you're never really gonna play comfortably, because you can make a super lackluster board just playing off sprites, which honestly isn't even that good and easy to crack, especially the way most decks are playing now. But then we got 3 Kisa kills. Normally people play 2. Like I said, I'm maxing out on summons on this deck just because you always want to see your engine, and if you don't, then more than likely you're probably going to lose. And the 1 extender as well, the Frost. I'd rather not play the secret passwords, which I'm not in this list, just because it plays harder into Droll in case you want to cut these down essentially, because you would be cutting this, taking away a normal summon in this if you want to play your traditional engine, which only puts you on 5 summons. And then yeah, you could play the triple password, triple thing, but it just plays harder into Droll, which you don't want. You at least want to be able to get a search off, especially if it's a bad hand and you open up only password and you get drolled on the continuous. You're just going to lose that game because you're not going to even be able to search out a twin. So I'd rather just see a twin in hand already and use the continuous as an extender to be able to get to this piece or this piece. That's why the option's there, and it's worked out really well. I can't complain about it. Onto the Sprite cards. We're playing our triple blues. Blue's blue, really not a lot to say. The Sprite package is pretty standard. This is where everything is pretty normal. Triple jet. And then the only difference is I am playing double carrot, which has been really good. Can't complain. Only 1 red. I am maining imperm and droplets, so being able to, if you have an option to be able to go into carrot rather than red because you have an impermanence, works out perfectly. And as well, I just like the spell negate and the grind because you could always draw into more imperms or more droplets, which I am playing. So that's why I'd rather just 2 carrot and cut down a red, just so it reduces a little bit of bricking. I was playing 2 and 2 at one point. I cut it down to just 1. It's because I did have imperms and droplets to be able to facilitate a monster negate I needed. Yeah, not a lot to say there. It's just your basic Sprite engine. And then lastly, for the level 2s, I'm playing 1 Hyperia. This card's very interesting. I noticed sometimes when I was doing test hands where there's not a real option to bring off of Gigantic. Sometimes you just see full engine, which is fine because that's exactly how you want to play and what you want to see. But it kind of felt the Gigantic feel dead if I just bring out like a random twin or another blue when I had a blue in hand to save the blue for follow-up, you know? When I'm trying to commit to a board, say I'm going like second and I gotta commit to a board. So, or going first, my bad, I can't speak. But yeah, this I tossed in, I was like, what's a good substitute to just be able to bring out? And it was Hyperia. I drop it, it lets me draw an extra card. So you +2, you draw 2 at least through the combo, and you probably deck thin like 4 or 5 cards from blue, jet, starter, Gigantic, or even your twins bringing out another twin or the continuous, you know? So the amount of deck thinning you do to be able to draw 2 is really impressive. It's gotten me to a lot of cards that I've needed to see, just off a twin draw and off an Hyperia draw, that I really do see this card be necessary in here. Not necessary, it's not, but it helps just, you know, maintain card advantage, be able to play next turn, see more engine for next turn, just be able to keep up with the meta rather than committing a full board and not being able to, I guess, have any follow-up, is what I'd say. Hand traps. These are the hand traps I decided to go with. Ashes, very generic. DD Crow, which is an interesting one. This should be Nibiru. If you're playing any other regular sprite list, this should be Nibiru. But since I think Nibiru conflicts with the twins, I can't play Nibiru, because if I ever Nibiru somebody and only see twins, I'm not going to be able to play. DD Crow's still super versatile. It hits Unchained, it hits Rescue Ace in case they try to bring back a Hydrant, it hits the Preventer in case they try to bring it back, it's the Rescue Ace spells in case they try to bring something back from there. It hits Branded, it can hit Pearly, not really Pearly, but it can hit Infernoble. You know, it's just the application of being able to DD Crow anything. It hits Labyrinth as well. If you start hitting the furnitures, that's how I won a couple mid-labyrinth matches. I started hitting the furniture and the knee level 6 card that specials itself back when you Ash a Welcome or whatever. I started hitting that, and against Dragon League I started hitting Lubellions. Just the application that DD Crow has is, I think it's still super high in a place where I was only able to fit, you know, 9 slots for hand traps. I think these are the most generically versatile hand traps to be able to see. Last one I'm playing Imperm, not a lot to say. It's Imperm. It's broken going second, broken going first if you see it. Yeah, you can draw into this technically, because on your opponent's turn you, in theory, should be able to draw an additional 2 cards because you play the Frost and the Life Twin package. But yeah, if you see this off the draw, it's still not bad. You have a follow-up for next turn in case they end up clearing your full board, which has happened to me, and I just Imperm, normal summon Twin, because at that point it's a very simplified game state. They played through all that. I was playing against Dragon League, all they ended on, or able to end on, was on a Disc Patter, and I just Impermed it, normal summon Twin, was able to clear the board essentially from there. Yeah, so like I said, it's super simplified game state. Imperm, broken going second, first. Just super versatile along with the other 2 options. Like I said, Ash, super versatile, Crow, super versatile, and Imperm, super versatile. So it's just generically good hand traps that have applications in all matchups that you can't complain about. Onto the spells. Like I said, I'm maxing out on Engine. And in case I ever do get drolled, I want to at least be able to have a twin in hand, because twins don't lose to droll. So yeah, you don't need to play secret passwords, just this, get your twin, start playing, pretty much. Like I said, if you have this plus a twin already, this just turns into any of the 2 extenders you have there, because you have 2 options for it now. And vice versa, in case you want to wait first, normal summon your twin. If it gets Impermed, you have the option to be able to bring out the blue one now, rather than not being able to bring out the blue one, because the only other option to really play when that happens is going into a weird Sprint line, which plays insanely hard into Nibiru, and I just rather avoid going with the, you know, 50-50 whether they do or don't have it. I'm either gonna win or be able to play, or I'm gonna lose to a Nibiru, because I'm gonna get Nibiru'd here. Starters, yeah, starter. Smashers, this is pretty staple. Obviously, you can only play double starter. Smashers has been insanely good as well. Being able to go second, first. If you ever see a starter in hand already plus a jet, you could just search out a Smashers. Or Gamma Burst. This card I decided to put in last second as well. Like I said, this is my 2 events back from pretty much post AGOV. That's all I was waiting for to be able to play again. So I was waiting on cards in there. But this card, it's super good. It keeps your jet a little alive, because sometimes you open this and jet into another card, or even like another starter, depending on the line. It always depends like how the board's looking like. but it just kind of gives you a little bit more value, because sometimes you burn through these three and you just have no options for jet to be able to search out, or you draw an additional starter, something like that. And this just helps seal out games. There was a couple games where I wouldn't have been able to close out if I didn't have this, but just being able to get like 3 bodies on board and start swinging for like 27 apiece is insane. Yeah, I'd keep these like this. For sure, Gamma Burst has came up. I went to Big Gigantic, plus I banished this from the graveyard to be able to swing over a big body as well. So yeah, just all this has had its application throughout the testing I did. Like I said, I've played 12 rounds total. I've lost 3 of them out of 3 matches out of those 12. So it's a pretty good, you know, ratio, pretty close to like a YCS top in theory, if we want to put it that way. But yeah, the next card in here is Droplet. The interactions with Droplet and pretty much all the decks around right now is insane. Being able to normal twin and just send it. It's the most common play. What I'm noticing is whenever I normal summon a twin and I'm going against a Rescue Ace, they'll activate the trap immediately and you're able to dodge it and shut off their SP at the same time. You're able to do that, which is the most broken way to resolve it, because if they chain SP to banish it, you're not going to care, because then you're going to get the other twin effect. They're going to chain the trap and then they actually neg off of it. Yeah, that's all I could say. Just Droplet in this deck is mandatory to play, just because of all the niche interactions you have with the twin cards, with the continuous spell. Something else neat that came up, I was playing against a Flunderies player. I had the continuous up and a Droplet. All I had to do was Droplet, chain, send continuous spell. He tried chaining Advent, which he let me know, so he revealed hand knowledge off that. I'm like, you can't. I send a spell. Normally, yeah, you can dodge imperms or things if I send a monster, but if I send a spell, it's just GG. He didn't open up field spell either, so he just essentially passed on Little Bird. He would have been able to play if this was an imperm or any sort of targeting negate, but it was a Droplet and I sent a spell, so yeah, that solved that issue. And lastly, the rest of the non-engine cards in there. 1 Harpies. This card has been insane. Like I said, here, some of the worst matchups you have are against back row, and then Rescue Aces everywhere, so you just drop this on Rescue Ace. It's pretty much an FTK. Called by, just super application. It's came up against Labyrinth. You hit the furnitures when they try playing on your turn. It's just help stop a draw. It's help hit against Dragon Links, Infernobles as well. Just, you know, just versatile application against this. And then I had one last open slot left, and I didn't know what to make it, so I just put in Talents. The one Talents was insane. I resolved this like 3 times for it being at 1 in the case tournament for no reason, and it was broken every single time against another Labyrinth player. He drolled me. I was like, sure, whatever. I had Talents in hand. Let me look at your hand. And I ripped his Extravagance. I saw every other card on his hand was dead. So I just had to play for the one card I didn't know, because nothing else is resolving, essentially. That's it for the main 40 cards. Like I said, I hope you get all my reasoning on why I'm playing so much engine, and I'd rather just see engine to be able to play. Because you're always going to be able to get to the Sprite engine, but it's always harder getting to the Live Twin engine if you don't see it. Just because you are going to have to do the weird sprint line, like I said, that I don't like playing. And that's just going to lead to you either getting a Brood or losing off one Imperm, rather than them being forced to use the Imperm earlier and then you full combo. Yeah. Onto the extra deck though. This should be pretty standard. Double Kiss-a-Kill, double Leela, and then the one Trouble Sunny. This card might be bumped up to 2, and I'll explain why. Just the non-target send is broken, obviously. The effect to tag out was broken, obviously. But aside from that, because this is all the twins we're playing, which is pretty standard, that should be your standard twins that you're playing. The only other options I got are Abomination and Griffin. Don't get me wrong, Griffin Lock can have its applications, especially against like branded Chimera. If you ever Griffin Lock them, they're kind of screwed pretty much and can't play the game. Against any other matchup though, this hasn't came up at all once, so this might be subbed out for a second twin. But in reality, I haven't had a need to go into any of these two in the 12 rounds I played. These never came up once at all, which is crazy to me. The only thing that came up was just a big twin going into it, just so I could either beat over something that's already 3,000 that these wouldn't be able to get over, and then keep my twin engine alive. So if I ever go into these, my twin engine's kind of turned off. Unless I IP into it, but IPing into SP is just insanely better. And I'll get to that right now as well. But yeah, I think, you know, Griffin Lock can have its applications. I think I'll keep that for now, but I for sure think Abomination could just turn into another big twin. Because there was a couple times where I wish I had a second big twin to be able to go into and just have a threat on board, you know? But yeah, that's where I'm at with those. Last links we play, Lingeribo. This card's broken in here for no reason. You have no reason to be able to normal summon a twin and go straight into this to be able to negate a trap. Against Labyrinth, there were so many times where they would just wait for me to try and overextend, and I just normal summon twin, get the other twin out, and they immediately, I'd be like, all right, everything fine? They'd be like, yeah, I'll wait. I'd be like, cool. Immediately link into this. I turn off one of their welcomes or traps that they're gonna use to interrupt me already. So this card's insane for no good reason in this deck. And it also lets you set up into playing into evenly match. So yeah, that's the biggest thing I like. There's a line where if you ever see a twin extender in blue, which is obviously the most broken hand you can see, but very common because essentially a starter would be a blue or a jet would be a blue. Any sprite card that searches or gets an additional body besides a carrot red with the twin and a continuous spell, you're just able to end on IP, your full twin combo, carrot, and a random Lingeribo for no reason, so you don't get even lead or impermed. It's so broken, I like it. Yeah, that's all I could say. Lastly, IP, SP. This is what I was talking about. Back then, ending on IP was honestly not that good. I used to end on the Gym Buster over IP, but now that we have the option to just play more interruptions, because this turns into a 3-card interaction, because your end board typically looks something like this. Even this, like, this is the weakest board you can make, ending on 1 card pretty much. This is 3 interactions alone. So what you can do is link this away into your SP. SP turns into a banish, and then you have your pop live. Here, let me flip this around for you guys. I'm doing this backwards. So yeah, IP links away into any 2 twins. It brings your pop live, you get a banish off of this. So you get 1 banish, 1 pop, and a second banish, essentially. Off 1 card, which is insanely broken to me. Like I said, back then your best play was either ending on the Gym Buster or going for a Griffin Lock. Griffin Lock is really bad right now just because there's not really a lot of good decks to Griffin Lock at the moment. The best option was Castura because you obviously turn off all the Castura cards if you do that. Which makes it insanely hard making them commit to a battle phase, but since they always open up Fenrir or Unicorn, they have to burn a resource to even do that. But you would just set up Smashers and your pop live as well, so they'll never be able to resolve that. Yeah, that's all I could really say about this package. This card's insane. It's probably gonna get hit, if I'm being honest, but we're gonna abuse it for as long as we can. Lastly, XYZs, double Gigantic. I think double Gigantic is super necessary. I was playing only 1 Gigantic at one point, but having the option to keep extending, especially on the follow-up, is what I've noticed, and where I was really missing it. Because on the 1 Gigantic, I was never able to have a oppressive follow-up. It was just, oh, let me just keep playing with my twins. Essentially, that was the only follow-up I had. Unless I saved a starter, but you typically want to either bring out a Smashers to protect or, you know, starter into a carrot standby, or on your main once they do an action. just so you don't play into Dark Ruler or any like Imperm or anything. But being able to just, if you end up on the 2 twins on board, go into Gigantic, detach, and then just keep playing with their twins after is insane, because then you get the blue into jet, into everything else pretty much. Yeah, this is super necessary at 2. I don't know why I ever cut it down to 1, because now that I'm playing at 2, I'm never going back to 1 again. Lastly, Mannequin Cat. This card's crazy and won me so many games for no reason. It's just such a sleeper card where people are like, well, I don't gotta answer a Mannequin Cat, but I'll show you guys why. Mosquito, which honestly, I don't know, this card I feel super strange about. There was a couple times where I wish I had a Sky Cavalry instead over a Mosquito, because the OTK Mosquito never came up, because I'm never gonna play for that. I play Gamma Burst in main, so I'm gonna just, you know, OTK you. And if you're ever in a game state where you just see 1 body on board, it's just super free to clear that body, or, you know, to be able to play around that 1 body, either clear it and then OTK you. And just the effect to negate never comes up either. But the only other option, would be Sky Cavalry, which I want to try, just because being able to spin back a card might come up more than just being able to negate. And then the 1 Zeus. Yeah, not a lot to say. Zeus is Zeus. He's crazy, just being able to wipe a board. There's a couple times where I was just able to immediately force into Zeus or threaten a Zeus and then be able to play after. But yeah. Nonetheless, that's the rest of the extra deck. Normally I don't like showing my side deck, but I feel like it's necessary now just because it's part of the deck now, essentially. 1 pink, this card's broken. I'll play this any day over a Fenrir. And then this card's especially insane here just because it's able to clear itself, which is the broken part. You're able to swing over an SP, clear the second body, and you're able to play with the twins right after to be able to normal summon special other twins, special blue, you know, do your full combo line, which came up more than often. I guess I got lucky seeing this card that often, even though it's a 1-of. But just that application is so broken on it. Lastly, Double Droll. This is kind of my going second cards pretty much. Double Droll is broken. Helps stop a lot of matchups, hinder a lot of decks. Only at 2, I wish I could play 3, but at the same time, you know, I'm playing a clean 40, so I have a pretty decent chance of already seeing this. And I don't want to draw 2 of as well, just because I don't want to clog up my hand with too many things unless it's engine. That's the only thing I say. I see back row hate, double lightning storm. Like I said, rescue ace is an issue, labyrinth is an issue, so you just clear the back row and you're able to play. And the last back row hate I have is evenly, which I never resolved once either. This card just never came up, to be honest. Never ever came up. At least I never saw it once. And I played 3 of them and I saw Lightning Storm and Drill more and Pinker Tops more. But so be it, it's still there. It still helps clear out a lot of back row in case you do see any back rows. Helps clear out boards in case you ever evenly droplet. That interaction's insane as well, so they can't even negate. Like I said, the application is still there. This card's still broken. I just was never fortunate enough to see it. I saw these instead more, but you know, not a bad card, still evenly. This is my going first pretty much. Anti-spell and D-barrier. Not a lot to say. Anti-spell I feel super necessary because it helps shut off all those power play spells in terms of tactics, thrust, prosperity, dark ruler, dark holes, regekis, lightning storms, whatever you want to do, name. This turns off a lot, can turn off some engine. Against Minkonko I went this and they kind of couldn't do anything off the rip. Not a lot to say. This D-barrier turns into a turn skip, either against Branded, Manadamium, they still kind of play, but they're, like I said, I'm forced to end on a super lackluster board. I have to try to OTK past their interruptions and board clears, so it just turns insanely hard for them against Dragon Link, against any Pendulum deck, against, I don't know, whatever, essentially. But, oh, Pearly, This the freest turn skip against Pearly. Yeah, that's all I can really say. Just like I said, just this gives you less problems to worry about, to the point where they're only going to have certain cards to be able to push through full board. Lastly, these cards are mandatory, I feel. Playing into Shifter is never fun. There's still Flunderies going around. There's Exorcister going around. Pearly sides into D-Shifters, and they see you use your graveyard a lot to bring back your twins. They're probably going to try D-Shiftering you. I always sided this in against Pearly, and these two, I just side these two in against Pearly. These are technically going first cards. This, like I said, I dropped this against a Flunderies because I got D-Shifted, and it turns off Advent because he tried, I impermed it. He tried chaining Advent, and I'm like, you can't banish it. And he's like, oh shoot, you're right. So he has to eat the imperm. He passed on a Little Bird against Exorcister. Martha's a light. And like I said, I got D-Shifted, so I had a Chaos Center on board. He went Martha. Special itself, I'm like, cool. Resolution, Mannequin Cat trigger. Special Christian, he just stared at me. He's like, what the fuck? So, you know, against Pearly, they're all fairies. This card just, you know, just application Christia has of being super generic light that most decks play. Like I said, against Dragon Link, they dropped a safer, and I was like, cool, let me just Christia you here real quick. But yeah, not a lot to say. These cards I feel like are mandatory in the side. That's why it's such an awkward count, because I do need to play these 1-ofs in there. And if there was any option to cut, it was probably D-Barrier, because I have these guys up and the 1 extra Droll. For either or, just because these are turn enders. The Christia will end a turn harder than Droll will. Vice versa with Chaos Hunter, depending on the matchup. But yeah, that's it for my profile. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys liked the insight I gave on the deck. Do I think the deck is a tier 1 deck? No. I think it's a solid tier 2 option, and I think, if I'm being honest, it's probably the safest and most consistent way to play the Sprite variant right now. I'm not a fan of Runic at the moment. I've tried and I've been trying. I can't play that variant to save my life. This variant feels so much safer, so much better. And like I said, out of 12 rounds, I've technically only lost 3 matches, which is fine. Can't complain about that. That's a pretty good record so far. Past AGOV, my real first tournament's playing back. Decks felt super smooth. All the slight tweaks I've done to it, the way I've been able to play around things, all the interactions it has against a lot of decks has felt super smooth. But nonetheless, thank you guys for watching, and go ahead and drop comments below, like and subscribe. Thank you, and I'm out.